What is human centipede?
They're Asian, they're cute, they're little.
Yeah, exactly.
Listen, I could put cute beats on it.
That's incredible.
I really love the job. My name is Mia. I am obviously an Onlyfans creator. I'm 49. I'm going to be 50 in June. So I would say I'm one of the older Onlyfans creators. But what I've learned from starting my YouTube channel is that there are so many women out there just like me who finally are like in their era where they want to try this out. They're curious about it. They've always thought about it and they don't know how to get started. Although I would say sex work is pretty new to me, like OnlyFans and sex work is pretty new to me. Like side hustle work is not new to me. And the way I came into this, which is, I don't know, some people might like turn their nose up at it, is my daughter was an OnlyFans creator. You know, my oldest daughter was a dancer, and then the pandemic hit, right? And so she turned to online work and OnlyFans. And I am a helicopter mom. I micromanage my kids. I have 3 kids. And, you know, I was doing her taxes, and we're very, very open. I don't like, you know, shame for anything that my kids do as long as they're healthy, they're respectful, you know, they take care of themselves. Anyways, so I was doing her taxes, and I'm like, what? Like, you're making this much money online? Wait, what? And I mean, it's not like she was like, I didn't even know at that time what OnlyFans was. And it's not like she's like, oh, I'm doing this thing. It was just very casual, like, yeah, I can't go in and work. I'm doing it online. I'm like, okay. Like, I guess in my head, I didn't like explore what that meant until I saw her taxes. And I'm like, okay, tell me more about this. What are you doing?
So this was what, like 2020?
Yeah, I would say, yeah. 2020, 2021. Yeah. Let's see. Pandemic was 2020. So yeah, when I did her taxes in 2021, I was like, because when you're dancing also, like, so much money comes in through credit cards and then so much is through cash, right? So I guess I wasn't really seeing how much money she was making, but obviously when it transitioned onto OnlyFans and everything was on paper and 1099, and then we had to do her taxes, I was like, oh my child, like, you have made so much money and you're making this online, and like, tell me more about it, kind of thing, you know? I would say that planted a seed. Like, it's not like in 2021 I was like, okay, let me go do this. It just kind of planted a seed for me.
So when your daughter was doing it, what was her main kind of marketing strat? Was she using TikTok, Instagram, or what was she doing at the time?
She was using Instagram and TikTok. And I realized looking back, like knowing what I know now and looking back, she was doing so many things wrong. Like, I'm surprised she made any money. But I think at that time it was like the wild, wild west, right? And so you could get away with a lot and you could blow up, you know, pretty easily, and the market wasn't as saturated. But yeah, she was using social media, and I think a lot of her customers or regulars or whatever that couldn't see her were kind of like going to that platform. And yeah, she had like multiple TikTok accounts, like 30, 40 TikTok accounts, like, you know, and just being her cute self on TikTok and making a buttload of money.
Nice.
That's awesome. So we've been buying all of these games on Amazon, trying to figure out like some good ones for the pod. And the best one that we've got so far, we did it with Adrena on I guess the episode before last or whatever. Anyway, so yeah, it's like an adult would you rather type of thing. You want to do it?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll go or I'll read them, I guess, first.
Okay.
Would you rather surgically attach yourself to a living relative of your choice or buy and use secondhand anal beads?
I mean,
surgically attach? My goodness.
I don't think I could be attached to anybody, like, and not want to murder them at some point. So I feel as a nurse and a mom, I know how to sterilize anal beads. So therefore, I will take the secondhand anal beads.
Yeah, and yeah, that would be my answer too.
Yeah, being surgically attached to someone.
Because even if you got like a little, I mean, an infection of some sort, you can handle that. But if you're surgically attached to someone,
Yeah, that one's kind of a no-brainer, I think.
okay. Would you rather have dreaded 6 foot long pubes or have pubic hair covering your entire body?
I would rather have 6 foot long dreaded pubes because I feel like I could put a twist on that and I could certainly market it. I feel like somebody would want to see it. I could monetize that.
That was
I'm
my
not
thought.
sure if I could monetize like head to toe.
But this assumes like you can't like groom it.
Yeah, no, but there would be like that's one of those people would want to see that.
Yeah. Listen, I could put cute beads on it. I could
Yeah.
like trinkets. Like,
Swinging around.
yeah. I
Yeah.
mean,
Wait, what was the other option?
Have pubic hair all over your whole body.
Oh, yeah, no.
Ew.
Okay, so I'm always interested in like the side hustle stories and stuff like that. So tell us about that. What were the side hustles you were doing before, and how did it how did all that kind of play out?
yeah, I think all my side hustles really have like led me to where I'm at now and being able to go into OnlyFans with like this business lens, right? So I would say my side hustle started when I was in high school. Like obviously I've been around for a while. My I have a twin brother, and my twin brother and I, this is way back in the day where we had newspapers and not the internet. I can't believe I'm saying this, but this was before the internet, right? And we had newspapers, and they would list storage lockers and storage things that would go up for auction because people didn't pay. So my brother and I would put our money together and buy these storage lockers and then have yard sales, right? So I would say that was like my first kind of flavor of flipping things, was us doing this together and doing yard sales. And then, the internet came around and eBay came around, and I started selling my handmade things. I was very big into like the rockabilly, psychobilly scene, and I would make like custom corsets and tops and cardigans and stuff like that out of band
Cool.
t-shirts, and I would sell them on eBay. That was even, I think, before Etsy. And it just kind of like evolved into there. My then husband at the time, we got a used car lot. Like he had this great idea that, we would get a used car lot. Mind you, I've been a nurse since I was 20. I got my nursing license when I was 20. So I was doing like nursing all along. But then he also wanted to have this car lot. So I'm the one that kind of like ran the car lot and learned how to flip these cars, right?
Wow.
And then, yeah, and then we broke up, which was like, the way we broke up was really, really like traumatic. He actually went to prison for like attempted murder against me. Like it was very,
My.
very traumatic. And I had everything one day, and I woke up like having nothing. I wasn't able to go back to my property, right? I didn't have like this second income. I had children, and now I couldn't even even with the divorce or whatever, I couldn't even ask for child support because he was in prison for this crime against me. So out of this necessity, I had to like tap into my side hustle roots, because I was like, I think women, when we find ourselves like all of a sudden single with children, single moms, we go into this like survival mode. And I wanted to protect my kids from having a change in lifestyle. And I wanted to do whatever I could to make sure that they didn't feel as much of what was going on with me financially, physically, emotionally. And so I started reselling on eBay. And I've done a lot of things. Like reselling on eBay was probably the longest side hustle that I've done and the more profitable. I also started like a very small like meal delivery out of my kitchen.
Wow, you're like a jack of all trades.
So you were doing that all the way up until you started. Well, when you were doing kind of all those side hustles, you mentioned you were doing corporate and stuff like that. So you were doing that at the same time, or like what's the kind of the timeline of when you were doing all the corporate work versus the side hustles and then OnlyFans?
Yeah, I'm still doing corporate work. So I've been a nurse, like I said, since 1995. I've been a nurse.
Wow.
I got my nursing license in 95. It's so crazy to say that. because Y2K is considered vintage now. So that is like
Oh my gosh.
banana. But yeah, I've been a nurse since 95 and I worked like, you know, in the hospital system. Like I said, I was a single mom, so I was working double shifts and doing side hustles. And then when I moved to the city that I'm in now, I took a corporate position within nursing. So I still do that, but I work from home now and I work 410s, which is how I've been able to kind of like stack side hustles on top and figure out my workflows so that I'm not overwhelmed and how I can incorporate different revenue streams into my already existing like daily life.
Yeah, that's incredible. I'm completely impressed.
Yeah, I mean, working a job like that, plus doing YouTube, plus doing OnlyFans and everything like that's
That's
a lot
amazing.
of stuff.
I mean, I won't say that I'm Wonder Woman. I do have a partner. He helps out. And my kids are older. And I understand, like, you know, moms that have littles that are still in the house that require a lot of time and may be different. I honestly feel like with them being older and not like needing me as much, I have just replaced like that absent, like empty nest feeling with just other things to do.
Yeah, my son is 19 also. So,
Yeah.
I totally get that. I started OnlyFans, geez, right around the time he graduated, I want to say, right? And that was kind of a perfect, like you're saying, it kind of helped with the transition for me of him, like he's going to work now and all this stuff. And then, you know, he just literally doesn't need me anymore. And I'm
Mhm.
just like, this big chapter is over.
Yeah.
Weird.
Yeah.
I just have the one though, just one.
Yeah. I have two girls and then my son. So the two girls are out of the house. My son is still here. He lives with his girlfriend. My oldest obviously knows. I think my middle child knows. It's just like an unspoken thing. And I don't know if my son knows because it's really tricky when it comes to that because my like OnlyFans persona is like the mommy dom, right? You know? And so it becomes really weird when you're like, yeah, I do this thing online, but no, I'm not like that. Like that's not who I
Yeah.
really am kind of thing.
Yeah, my son knows. I was really transparent with him about it. Yeah, we just have a rule, you know, he's just like, as long as I don't ever see anything, I don't care what you do. I'm proud of you. Good for you. He's super supportive. But yeah, we just are really, really careful to,
Well, he was like, well, yeah, get that bag, mom.
yeah, he's super supportive.
Yeah. So, but I actually had part of what you were just talking about on my list of questions right here, because you mentioned, well, on the little thing that you filled out, you basically said that you're a legit cougar because your partner is younger than you, but he kind of helps you out with various, you know, pieces of all the stuff that you do. And so I remember when we were kind of doing some of the test episodes for this podcast, when Cierra and I were kind of changing the format to what it is now, you asked us a question about how we kind of, you know, what are our various roles? How much do we pay each other and stuff like that? So I was curious to ask the same question with you. Like, how do you guys? What is the kind of the role that you guys have, and how do you sort of distribute the money and everything like that?
So my partner was 36. Like we've been engaged for like 8 years. It's kind of ridiculous. I just have this aversion to getting married ever again. But we've been together for 10 years. He's 36, 37. I don't know. I try not to think about how old he is since I'm going to be 50. We are like real deal partners, not in just this, but in all of my side hustles. He's like along for the ride, right? He's just like, whatever you want to do, babe. Like, okay, you want to do that? How can I help? You know, it's more like the ideas kind of flow through me and how we're going to put everything into motion. And he's the worker bee, right? I'm like, okay, I need you to do this, this, and this for me kind of thing. And our finances are combined. We have two properties together. We live together. We have a joint account and we have a separate account. And so, and I think I talked about this, but this is like super nerdy stuff, but I'm into like this profit first when it comes to our extra money. So I make sure all of our money does not commingle with personal money. And so all of our side income money goes into a bank account. And then from that, I take money out for taxes. I take money out for savings. And then we put money into our joint account, and then we each get an allowance, right? Or we get a portion of it. So that's basically how our money is distributed. And then whatever we get personally in our personal accounts, that's for us to spend however we want. And then our joint accounts is for our bills and our vacations and stuff like that.
So when exactly did you, so you started, OnlyFans 2022, and then you found my YouTube channel right around then, or I can't remember exactly when you...
No, I mean, I remember exactly when. So let me back up. So I obviously don't need to do all these side hustles. I wouldn't say obviously. I don't need to do these side hustles. I make really good money in the job that I'm in, and I don't plan to leave the job. I really love the job. But I got a very late start on investing and retirement, right? Like that information was not like readily available when I was in my 20s or even my 30s. And now I'm like, oh my God, it's too late. And not only that, but I realized that our younger generation is set up to have less than what my generation was and the generation before. So my goal is to make sure that my kids all have affordable housing. My goal is to have at least 3 pieces of real estate or houses for my children so that they can basically rent it for what the mortgage is, and that they will always have sustainable housing, which is why I haven't stopped my side hustles. And on top of that is to put more into investments. And so we had just bought a second piece of property in Florida for my middle child. And during our pandemic, we had bought one of those van lifes because I thought I was going to be like a van life blogger, and I thought I was going to travel around and, in this van. That didn't work out. But I remember when we were on our way back, I was like, you know what? Sometimes I feel like I have this like get rich quick scheme kind of like brain, and my partner's like, okay, whatever. But I'm like, let's start OnlyFans. Like, let's do the OnlyFans. Let's do what my daughter's doing, and like, let's try that out. And he's like, okay. And I'm like, we'll just do feet. Okay? And we're going to make $1 bazillion off of just my feet. They're Asian, they're cute, they're little, like that'll be it. Nobody will know. And 2 weeks later, we're like full on doing it on camera, right? It was a slippery slope that like went really fast, right? But that was in 2022, but I went into OnlyFans not knowing what OnlyFans was. Like, I was not a consumer of OnlyFans. I did not know the platform. I did not ask enough questions. I did not do enough research. I thought I was just going to put myself out there and I was going to blow up because I'm this hot MILF and I was going to make all this money. I didn't know that I had to like promote myself. I didn't know how to promote myself. And so I would say August 2022 is when we started OF. Yeah. It was very, very very casual, very part-time. I didn't know what the heck I was doing. And I was ready to throw in the towel until I took the course. It was a very slow get traction that I was gaining with followers, to the point where I was like, is this worth like the $500 I'm making a month or $300? Is this worth having my goods out there on the internet forever? And I was really like ready to quit. I'm like, I either need to go all in and figure this out, or I need to quit because the money I'm making right now is not worth it. And I was doing a lot of research on YouTube, right? Because I wholeheartedly believe in taking courses. I don't know why, like, as like the side hustle generation, we have a stigma against paying people for their time, but we don't have the stigma for going to college and paying professors like thousands of dollars with no guarantee either. But I also understand that there are some shady characters out there. So I had to just I really watched a lot to see what made sense in my brain and what I needed. Like, I know how to pose. I know how to be sexy. I know what my niche is. I didn't know the fundamental, pillars of how to market, how to create funnels, how to set up your page and optimize. That stuff is what I needed. And so I took the course. I'm like, okay, this is it. I'm going to do this. And if this doesn't work, I'm going to quit. If this works, then hallelujah. hallelujah, it worked. And I'm like, you know, now I just know I'm going to hit it big soon.
By the way, if you want to join us in the OnlyFans Level Up community, that is where I share all of my best secrets and strategies for OnlyFans creators, many of which are hitting really big numbers, as you may have seen from various guests on this podcast. But either way, it's a great place to be if you want to network or learn all of the best secrets and strategies to grow your OnlyFans account. You can find all of that information with the link down in the description below. But for now, back to the podcast. Yeah, so my course obviously kind of shows all the systems, the strategies, the tools, kind of how to build the underlying foundation or the underlying mechanism that kind of powers the business, or essentially the infrastructure that you build your business on top of. But then after the course, obviously it's up to each individual to sort of test all the different content formulas and figure out specifically what works for them. So tell us about that with you. Like, what are some of the kind of different content formats, content formulas, different types of content that you've created? What are the things that like haven't worked for you, and like what are the things that you are kind of finding to work?
I mean, I would say if older creators are watching this right now, I think the number one thing is to not try to look younger or act younger or be younger than, who you really are inside and how you feel. I mean, I think I went into this thinking like, in order to be an OnlyFans model, I had to be one of these younger, hot girls because that's what guys want. They quickly learn that's not what they want. Like, I think there's a reason why they're on OnlyFans and not Pornhub, and it's because they feel like they can have a personal connection with you. And so when I really leaned into what I know and what's natural, being a mommy and being a nurse, that's when my content started taking off. And in fact, my last video that I just did, I talked about how I even think I'm going to move away from even doing any kind of penetration at all, because I'm not selling it. The stuff that I'm selling is really me being like verbal, like the JOIs. And I even I don't know how many people are doing this, but like this morning, I just had a 30-minute phone call, literally just a telephone call where I act as a sex therapist and talk to this person.
Wow.
And they're telling me things that they probably can't tell anybody else, but they want to talk about it because they get arousal out of it, or they just want to vent. And I'm monetizing that. Like, a lot of what I'm monetizing is just really up here and has less to do with everything else. And when I realized that and leaned into it, I'm like, first of all, I could be saving a whole lot of time having to make this content that is really, really explicit, when I could be doing other content that not everybody's doing, that I can monetize probably at a little bit higher rate than others, and that I enjoy, and that comes natural.
Yes.
Well, I'm so glad that you found your way into the group, because you're, one of the most helpful people in there when people have questions and everything like that. So I always appreciate you when you're, just in there helping people out, because you don't have to go out of your way to help people, but you always do, which I always appreciate. So thanks for that.
Yeah, I think that's like the nurse and the mom in me. And not to mention, the role that I'm in now with my job is more of a trainer role. It's project management and it's training, but it's really taking doctors and nurses and clinics and teaching them new complex kind of tasks or systems, and breaking it down into I don't want to say a fourth grade level, because these are people that have MDs, but really breaking it down into a fourth grade level of how you can look at something, how you do something, small steps to accomplish this bigger thing. So I think it's very natural when people want help, and I'm like, yeah, I know how to do it. Here, step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4.
Now that you're saying that makes, because I've watched a lot of your YouTube content, and I watch all of it. And I was telling Scott, her videos are so impressive. Anyone can, it makes it so palatable because you break it down really, really well. This is how I'm making this type of video. I'm posing like this, I'm using the camera like this, I'm chopping it. And it's just like, it makes it no brainer.
Thank
Yeah,
you so much.
You're
your stuff is
welcome.
really good. I have a Cierra calls me the Tin Man because my all my content is just very like pragmatic and like, systems and procedures. One of the other things is I feel like well, on my YouTube channel, I always feel like I'm, preaching YouTube and personal brand and all this stuff. And I feel like most creators avoid it like the plague. But you're one of the few that, started doing YouTube and, started kind of moving towards that personal brand side of things. So I guess the question is, what do you think about going that direction, YouTube, personal brand, everything like that versus, kind of the short form strategies with TikTok, Instagram, Reels, and everything like that?
Branding completely makes sense. And like for longevity, you have to have it, right? Like OnlyFans could shut down my account today. And then, what would I have if I hadn't built up a personal brand and a following around that personal brand? I also think a lot of creators have like an aversion of just being in front of the camera or speaking or feeling like they don't have value or they don't know that they bring value. I don't want to validate, some of the comments were like, well, what are you going to do when you're old? Because I'm already old, what are you going to do when you're like, when you get too old for this kind of thing? But what are you going to do when this no longer fills your cup? Like if you haven't built a personal brand where that you can like, build off of, then you would be starting all over again. And I've seen a lot of creators that were OnlyFans creators that stopped doing spicy work, but continued their YouTube and just kind of like slowly transitioned to something else. And so they continue to like make that content, have brand deals, have affiliate income, and, we're able to continue to have monetization for a different niche after OnlyFans. And that's what I would hope to do.
Yeah, exactly. It's definitely something. I mean, because that's something that we're always kind of working toward as well. In terms of, yeah, OnlyFans is cool, but like having a bunch of different streams of income is cool, and having a personal brand where other brands are reaching out to you and offering money to talk about their products and services or whatever. I mean, having all those doors, they don't really open up until you have a personal brand. Even with my very small channels, like it's kind of changed everything for us in terms of opening a lot of different doors for multiple streams of income and stuff like that. um, what would you say to creators who are kind of exactly what you said, like they're scared to talk on camera, they feel like they don't have anything valuable to talk about, or stuff like that? What would be kind of the advice for that type of person?
I mean, it's so cliche, but I would say just to like do it, just turn on your camera, like just set up your camera in your room as you're going about your daily like life. Like what things are you doing that are interesting? Like draw a Venn diagram. Like what are you passionate about? Like, what do you know a lot about? And, what do you think you can like inform and figure something out. It's okay to fail because failing is a learning process. And I think so many people are scared of failing because they think people will judge them or that, they did something wrong. But like failing forward is a thing. And we need to fail to learn to move forward. And it's okay to do some content and be like, well, I don't really like that, or that wasn't received. Well, let me try this. I've literally thrown so many things at the wall to see what would stick. And my story isn't all about success. There have been plenty of things that did not work out. But you have to try in order to get there. And I mean, I know I sit in a place of privilege where I have all my bills paid. I'm financially stable. I don't have a lot of judgment for people where I could say, who cares what people think about you? Just go out there and do it. But really, at the end of the day, who cares? Just go do it. Just go do it and see what happens.
Yeah, exactly. I'm curious what some of those failures were. Like, what are some of the things that you've tried that just completely flopped?
Oh, I tried Amazon. So, I thought I was going to be a big Amazon third-party seller. We tried Amazon. We put two of our stimulus checks into buying stuff for Amazon and failed at that. I tried private label on Amazon as well. I did drop shipping and I started it right before the pandemic. When cottagecore, which is an aesthetic, was starting to like peak and be a thing, I grabbed the cottagecore store domain name and I started drop shipping cottagecore stuff. And I wouldn't say it was it made money, but I didn't like the ick of just knowing like these things were coming in different like that was a failure. Shopify was a failure, I would even say like my little kitchen, like cooking meals, was a failure because I grossly underestimated the return on investment, the resources it took, the time that it took, and I had promised these people that I would do this thing for so long. And then it was very hard for me to say, I don't want to do this anymore because so many people were depending on me and depending on these meals. So I've had a lot of, failures, I would say.
I think it's those types of businesses that get your skills really, really sharp.
I think I was thinking about this today. I think this is the only business, this sex work business, OnlyFans, even dancing, is probably the only business where we go in with the expectation that we will be profitable on day one. And that by the end of the week, people are so frustrated that they're not making money. Every other business, there is no expectation to be profitable. Like even in the first quarter, first year, whatever, like you have to learn the ropes. But why do we expect, like, I guess, I don't know if it's because of all the news articles or, just this kind of like underline of like, you're going to make millions if you're on OnlyFans. But creators get so frustrated that, they're not making money immediately.
That's so true.
Without putting in the time and having those failures and learning.
Yeah, I think you're exactly right. Right with that, because OnlyFans is probably one of the only businesses out there that has such insane expectations, because it has happened for some people, right? They just get on there and then go viral and just start making a bunch of money super quickly, and that's what everybody sees. But what everybody doesn't see is the 2 million other people that had to grind for years and years and years to be able to make something work. So yeah, I think that is one of the biggest problems is a lot of creators just have insane expectations of how quickly they think it should work, when it's just, it's like a real business for most of us, where you have to grind for a while.
It should be a real business for everybody. Like,
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the things I want to bring to my channel. And like, I try to stress to like these younger creators is like the financial literacy part of this business, and that it is a business and you need to come at it with a business lens. Otherwise you're gonna get burned out. You're gonna mismanage your money. You're gonna mismanage your time, and then you're not gonna get the results that you want, and you're gonna blame it on everything else, right? Like, I can't go viral on social media. These subs are cheap. Like, everything. If you don't come at it with the correct lens, and then, like I said, the financial literacy is really scary. When I see, like, I'm in other discourse, when I see some of the questions like creators ask about like taxes and write-offs and how they're managing their money and what they should do, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like it's scary to think like that creators are making money and not knowing how to manage it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, that's also something I appreciate about your channel, is that kind of like bringing the financial literacy to the forefront, because it is something that a lot of people don't think about until it's too late, or even worse, when creators during the pandemic, whatever, they make a bunch of money and they think that's just what it is forever, so they upgrade their lifestyle and they do this and they do that. they have no money for taxes, they're living beyond their means, and then all of a sudden things aren't as good as they were, and you owe the IRS, $200,000.
Mm,
You're living in a house you can't afford.
right. And you've put nothing away for investments or anything like that.
Yeah, I appreciate you having that channel though. And I think you're going to see a lot of growth there because like I said, I watch your videos and I see like the feedback that you get. And so many people are getting value from your content.
Thank you.
And so that's really amazing that you're doing that.
Yeah, thanks.
So what is your what's kind of the end goal with you? Are you working towards another business after this? Is it
No, I want to live my best life. Like really, like all my money right now is to acquire a third property. And then once I do that, I know I'll have a property for each of my kids. And then the rest will go into investments. I mean, I am investing right now, but the formula that you need to have so much in investments and then, so that you can withdraw 4%, 6%, whatever, and live off of that. So I need to have so much in investments so that I can withdraw 4% of it and live off of it so that I don't have to work again. And that's my goal, is to put all of my side hustle income into investments and crypto until I get to that magic number that I have, and then I'm quitting everything and living my best life.
For anybody who wants to check your stuff out, I'm going to have your YouTube channel linked below. Is that the best platform to send people to?
Yeah, my creator channel is obviously Mia's Midlife Moment. I did start 2 try-on channels. One that is not, you know how they make you verify? I have one that I've not verified, so fingers crossed it's not attached to anything in case anything happens. And then I have another try-on channel that is kind of like connected to the creator channel. And the creator channel is connected to my other, because it's monetized, right? And when you are monetized, they connect all of your monetized channels. It's a tangled web. So yeah.
It is probably something that we should talk about because, the try-on hauls are super popular on YouTube right now. And some people are doing really, really well with that. But I feel like what a lot of people don't see are some of the creators that try and they don't get the they get get the slap rather than the reward. Have you run into any issues like that so far, or have things kind of been okay for you? Well, just to give people some context, I'll kind of explain how YouTube's different. So the way that YouTube works is, and this has actually happened with some of my channels too, where if you have multiple channels associated with the same email and one of them gets penalized or banned, then they all get penalized and banned and shut down. Or if you have them on separate emails, but you verify using your face on all the channels, then that can potentially also cause multiple channels to go down when one does. And then for other people, they don't have any issues at all, works great, they get a ton of views and just smooth sailing. What's your experience been so far?
I mean, so that's why I created the one that I didn't verify. I didn't verify with my face. It is not connected to any email. I'm trying for it to be its own little island out there, just in case, right? And that is the one where it's more of a transparent and the sheer, the ones that are really going viral right now. Mine is not going viral. Like, it's not getting like the million views that other creators are getting. It's getting like, 5K, 6K, which is way more than my creator channel is getting. But I wouldn't say it's going viral. To me, that is a good organic growth that is not setting off any alarms for YouTube. I've had a thumbnail removed, which was my bad. I pushed the limit and I probably shouldn't have. I had a thumbnail removed, and then my channel has been, branded as over 18. And a lot of my content has been branded as over 18. But so far, so good, knock on wood. There are creators that I follow that are, running with the trend. One just lost her YouTube channel completely. One had, and they have really big creative channels. So I don't know if they're attached. I think they are. They mentioned that they're like going to tone it down because they don't want to lose all of their channels altogether. And they're getting videos pulled without warning now. So when I said today, like, I feel like it's a wild, wild west, I really feel like it's a wild, wild west right now. But I think the return on investment is like so quick. Like, my subs have tripled and quadrupled since the YouTube channel that it's almost, for me, like, worth it. It is worth it. That's why I'm still doing it, kind of thing.
Nice.
Yeah, that's awesome. Cierra only has like 3 try-ons on her channel, and I think the one that has the most views is like 20,000 or what, like 30,000.
It's like 35,000 or something. I was surprised that it got even 35,000 views, because I'm like, fully clothed, this is like Instagram content. But something about it hit, and it did really well. And I did get a good influx for a moment there of subs from that.
Well, and the actual conversion on YouTube is higher, because I was kind of measuring, like, you know, from the traffic that comes from Instagram, what's the actual conversion? And I think it was 1.3-ish, about 1.3 or something like that. And then her YouTube conversion was like 3.5, I think.
Yeah, it was really good.
3.5%. Yeah. So it was like triple the conversion rate in comparison to some of the others.
And with no nips.
Yeah. You could get little pasties to put. I got them from Temu.
Yeah. I rock with pasties.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So the last question I was finish off with, or at least on the recent episodes, if you could go back and kind of give yourself the best piece of advice, you know, if you were just getting started with OnlyFans today, what's the best piece of advice that you would give yourself?
Start your social medias now. Start your 10 social medias now. Start your personal branding now. I mean, I think when we said earlier about, you know, people going viral on OnlyFans, it's really because they went viral and then started their OnlyFans or announced that they had an OnlyFans, you know. I wish that I had started my socials. And then, like you talk also, like, you have to give the platform time to trust who you are, that you're posting consistently, that you're not violating, you know, terms and services and community guidelines and all of that. Like, that takes time. I wish I would have, like, just done that a year before I even started.